Hi, welcome to our service for students in grades 5, 6, 7, and 8 as a part of Mount Pleasant Christian Church's student ministries. My name is Mike Sheely. I'm the middle school pastor, and I'll be your host today. We want to welcome you to what we got planned. We got a game we're going to do pretty soon here with a special guest, and all you need for it is a sheet of paper and a pen. At the end of our teaching time, when this video is done, we've got a special resource we're using called Cluster. It's basically a way to privately share photos and video and words. And you can go on there, and we're going to have questions that we've posted in the form of images, and then you can comment and put your answer. When we meet in person at the Student Ministry Center, we often have these boards set up, and you write your answer on a Post-it note and stick it up on the board. This is the best virtual way we can do that. And so check out this link, screenshot that, save that if you need to. That is your invitation to join our private cluster. And then once you're in there, you can go in there and post things up. That will be cleared out. There won't be anything in there until about 6:50 tonight. And so if you're watching this live, don't try to jump in there early. Just wait till the lesson's done. Then you can go in and start interacting. And if you're watching this after Thursday, that will still be available for a week after this thing airs live. So you can go in and still add comments and participate. We may even be adding content throughout the week as well. After the cluster time is done at 7:15 tonight, if you're watching this live, we're going to do some games together in Zoom. Every week this summer, Zoom is going to be a little bit different for us. Today we're going to play some games together, and so we may even get out the good old Kahoot if you are ready to play that as well. We'll play some games tonight, just kind of see how it goes from 7:15 to about 7:45. Just a chance to hang out, to have some fun together, do some things live, interactive together, and then at 7:45. Those of you that want to stick around and do some praying together, we'll break up into some rooms or pray as a group to finish up the night. So that's tonight, 7:15. There's the tinyurl.com/zoom0604. Keep in mind there is a password required for this Zoom to keep it secure. We emailed that out to the parents on Tuesday morning, so they should already have that. If not, you can contact me and I will get that for you. Okay? That is how we will wrap things up tonight. We're glad that you're there with us. We're going to have some fun with this game. So get your paper, get your pens, and join me and a very special guest for another round of possibilities. All right, hey students, we've got a special guest with us today for our game of possibilities. Some of you may recognize her. This is Amanda Snow, our elementary director from Bibleopolis. Amanda, why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hey guys, I miss you so much.
Some of you that just came out of 5th grade, I gave you a heads up that we're going to see how well you know your former pastor and how well you can guess on your new pastor. And then students that have been with us for a little while, we'll just see how this goes. These are the craziest questions ever. This game is called Possibilities, a game of no right answers, just right ideas. And so what we've done is we've asked some questions, and you're going to try to guess how we each answered it. So here's our first one. It says, poof, you've been turned into a mythical creature. Would you be an A, unicorn, a B, a uniwhale or a narwhal, a C, a unibear, or D, unichicken? You have 30 seconds. You need to write down an M next to the letter you think that Mike, that I would have picked, and an A next to the one that you think Amanda would have picked. Interesting. Was this an easy pick for you, or did you wrestle between a couple options?
I liked a lot of the options actually.
I pictured them all on unicycles as well. Got about 5 seconds here to guess. Again, just write either A, B, C, and D down and then put an M and an A. We could both have guessed the same one or different ones. All right, your time is up. Time to reveal. If you said Amanda for the uniwhale or the narwhal, you got that one right. 100 points for you. And if you said Mike for unibear, you got that one right. Amanda, any reasoning behind why you picked that one?
I think I love the ocean, so I think it'd be awesome to live in the ocean.
Nice. And I grew up in Illinois, so as a fan of the Bears, I had to go with the unibear. That was a pretty easy pick for me. So, all right, if you did well with that one, good job. We've got 2 more for you. If you struggled and didn't get anything right on that one, there's still hope. There's still 2 more left. So here is our second one. You wake up and realize you have a superpower. Here are your 4 options. A, you can transform into any plant. B, you can control cardboard with your mind. C, everything you bake is perfect. Or D, you can speak any language, but you can only understand English. You've got 30 seconds to try to figure out how do you think Amanda and I picked when it came to these answers. What do you think? Have you ever had to pick from this kind of a list of superpowers before?
This is the hardest one. I had to really think about this one.
Was it between two, or were all of them just kind of strange to pick from?
They were all a little weird. I'll tell you why I landed where I did, though.
Okay. All right. We've got about 14 seconds for you guys to pick. Again, you can just put an M down next to the one you think that I picked, an A next to the one you think Amanda picked. This was I've answered a lot of superhero questions before, but this was the strangest one. All right. Time is up. Time to reveal how we answered and see how well you do. Amanda picked A, you can transform into any plant, and I picked B, you can control cardboard with your mind. So Amanda, why did you pick transforming into a plant?
I thought about the cardboard one, but if you can become a plant, then you can spy on people, because you could be a plant on a desk or be a plant outside someone's house. So that's why I chose that one.
Good to know. All right. Amanda wants to spy on you. Good deal. As a plant. That's nice. Just make sure you give her plenty of water. And then I just thought there's so much cardboard out there. If I could control it, I could do some really cool stuff. So obviously not when it's wet like it's raining today, but that would be my pick. So if you got those right, another 200 points for you. If you got those wrong, you've got one last chance to try to guess, and this is a good fun one here. Our last question is, it's time to update the dollar bill. What's on the front? Did we pick A, raccoon with a cape, B, buffalo flexing its biceps, C, George Washington but a cat version, or D, a pickle with sunglasses? You have 30 seconds to try to pick which one we answered for this. What do you think about this one, Amanda?
This is my favorite one.
Favorite one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The imagery is just so good.
There are some good visuals there. I can see your husband making up a mock-up for us of this. All right, you guys have about 7 seconds left to pick. Again, put an M next to the one you think I picked, an A next to the one you think Amanda picked. We could have picked differently. We have so far. We could have picked the same one. All right, your time is up. And to reveal the answer, we both picked a buffalo flexing its biceps. So we end the game on the same answer. That's a great one. Hey, why did you pick this one, Amanda?
It just made me laugh. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and it just was my favorite by far.
Yeah, I like Buffalo Wild Wings, so I guess I was hungry when I answered this one. But I definitely like the idea of a buffalo flexing on there. So any parting words for our students, especially your fifth graders that are just moving up?
You guys, man, this was crazy year, but you are in good hands. I'll tell you what, every single year, I hate when you move up. It's the hardest thing ever because I love you so much. But I will say this, you guys are in the best hands ever. Mike is awesome. He's hilarious, and he loves Jesus so much. And I would just love for you to get to know him well. And this year might look a little crazy, but he's the perfect one to land with. So you're lucky, but I miss you a lot.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Amanda. I'll get you a check out for those comments. So, hey, we are excited you guys get to be with us. That is our game for today. We're going to get ready to transition into our teaching time. But thanks for playing. Hopefully you did really well. And thanks, Amanda, for joining us today.
No problem.
Stream starting soon.
Hi, and welcome to week 2 of our Battle Gear series for students in grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're looking at a letter that Paul wrote to a church in Ephesus. In your Bible, it's called the book of Ephesians. If you've got a print Bible, you can use this table of contents on the screen to help you kind of figure out where that's going to be at. If you've got a digital Bible, you can also use that to navigate to where the book of Ephesians is. If you're using our Bible notes, event notes in the Bible app, then you should have the passages already blended in there and ready to go for you to dig in. Here's the deal. In this letter, it's kind of divided in half. In chapters 1, 2, and 3, Paul describes for us the good news or the true story about Jesus. In the second half, chapters 4 through 6, he then explains how Jesus' story should reshape every part of our story. And that's what we're going to deal with today. He wrote this to a church at a specific place at a specific time, but his goal was that these principles would be applicable enough that he could share this letter around to other believers. And so it applies to us just as much today. Is look at this letter to the church at Ephesus in Ephesians. It's written to Christians. But what we're going to talk about applies whether you're following Jesus yet or not. Because I think all of us can recognize that we look in the world around us and we see evidence of evil. Some of it is bold in the form of violence and terrorism, and some of it is more subtle. And we're going to talk about that today and what our role is with God's help in this battle that has to do with evil in the world around us, a spiritual battle. We're going to look today specifically at Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 14. Let's dig in. Paul says, a final word, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on all of God's armor so that you'll be able to stand firm against all strategies of the devil. For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in the heavenly places. Therefore, put on every piece of God's armor, so you'll be able to resist the enemy in the time of evil. Then after the battle, you will still be standing firm. Stand your ground, putting on the belt of truth and the body armor of God's righteousness. Well, here's how Paul starts out. He says a final word. Remember, he's wrapped up all this teaching about the good news of Jesus, about God's grace, this new unified and diverse body of believers called the church, a little bit about what he has faced and his desire to share this good news with people, and then how this affects all of our relationships. And he wraps up by showing how it affects things that we can't see. He says, be strong in the Lord. That be strong is a phrase that you may be familiar with because God uses it over and over throughout the Bible. For Moses, he said, be strong and courageous. For Joshua, he said, be strong and courageous. Jesus, with his disciples, said, be strong. I am with you. It's God's mighty power. This phrase could best be explained as continually receive strength from God, from his power. It's not a one-time thing you just go check off your list. It's an ongoing workout. It's an ongoing time of coming back to God and receiving strength from him. The phrase here reflects back all the way to chapter 1, where Paul wrote, I also pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's power for us who believe in him. This is the same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead. Back in chapter 1, Paul was pointing out that when you become a follower of Jesus, when you are a believer who's been baptized, not only do you receive forgiveness, you receive God's Holy Spirit living inside of you, which has the same power that raised Jesus from the dead. Nothing you face can overcome that power if you rely on that strength and not your own. So be strong in God's mighty power. And he says, put on God's armor. Paul's trying to describe some way for us to understand how to be equipped and prepared for the battle we're going to face. And so around him, he had Roman soldiers. Now, probably the one that was chained to him as he's writing this letter isn't dressed in full battle gear. But that would have been an image he was familiar with from his travels and his time in Rome. For us, throughout this series this summer, we're going to use the image of modern-day soldier equipment. We'll use Roman soldier equipment to help explain this. We'll look at police, firefighters, other first responders, and how they prepare and are equipped for the battles that they face. And we're going to look at superheroes, because why not? There's so many great examples from Marvel and DC, from Star Wars, that show us examples of what Paul's describing here in a way that kind of helps us understand it in our everyday worlds of good versus evil. And then Paul says, put on all of God's armor. You don't kind of pick and choose, like, I like to have that shield, and maybe that helmet, but that sword, I don't know, that's kind of close back. No, it's all of this is what we need to be equipped for the battle that we're going to face. And Paul encourages us with that so that we will stand firm. We will hold our position. We will be strong and sure-footed and won't be knocked over or defeated when we face evil. Because this battle is not just against people we can see. It's against the devil. And some people make the mistake of saying, you know what, he's not real. Like, I believe in God and good stuff, but I want to believe in devil and evil. And that's a big mistake. Because if you don't believe in the devil, you're not going to fight against him. You're going to think it's worth it. And he very much is real and in the world. But the other side of that is also a problem. We shouldn't think that, wow, I'm just so scared that, like, what's the devil going to do to me? And he's so powerful. No. Remember what Paul wrote and encouraged us with. We have the power of God living inside of us when we become believers. So whatever we face, we don't face on our own. We face it with God's power. With that kind of strength, the battle is ours to win as long as we trust and rely on God. He says we're not fighting against flesh and blood enemies here. This fight, this battle, is not like some far-off drone fight. It's hand-to-hand combat. It's the kind that involves cunning and trickery and strategy. It's a wrestling match of sorts. That when we're fighting these battles, we've got to be strategic. We've got to think that way and be shrewd as Jesus described it for us. It's a spiritual battle. It's not one that you can see. And the question then becomes, well, how can we expect to stand against the assaults of such enemies? How do we deal with a spiritual battle? And the truth is that on our own, we can't. If we're not involving God, we can't stand against the enemy and win. When we think that we're good enough, and we don't have to trust in God, we don't have to rely on Him, we can do it on our own, we're going to be defeated. But with God and His power, there's nothing we're going to face that's too strong for us. Nothing that should terrify us, nothing that strike that kind of fear in us if we trust in God and His power. Remember, Paul wrote, I also pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's power for us who believe in Him. It's the same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead. That's the power on our side. That's the power we rely on for this battle. That's how we will stand firm. He says, I want you to stand firm by resisting the enemy, not giving in. When you face temptation, nothing you're tempted by is more powerful than God. It's more powerful than you and me, but if we trust in God, nothing is more powerful than Him. So he says, I want you to take every piece of the armor that I'm providing for you. So we start off by standing with the belt of truth. We'll talk more about the body armor of God's righteousness next week, but today we're going to focus on the belt of truth. The belt was the first piece of armor that a soldier would have put on. It would have helped hold everything together. And Roman soldiers wore these long tunics, and they would have tucked them in the belt so that they were always ready in battle to run and not be tripped up by them. It would also hold their sword, and it would help hold other pieces of armor together. Well, as we think about this belt, it was a symbol of always being alert and prepared for battle. If you had your belt on, if everything was tucked in, you were ready to go to face battle. Paul is saying, be alert. Recognize there is a battle going on, and you need to be prepared to do your part of it. It is kind of like Batman, right? Now, some might argue whether or not he's a superhero. Some that like Marvel more than DC may not even want to talk about Batman, but here's the deal. Batman's kind of unique. He doesn't have any supernatural abilities. He's this man, Bruce Wayne, but when he puts on his gear, including his bat belt, now he has the tools he needs to fight evil. He's equipped for battle. And we've got a friend of ours in church here named Peggy, who's involved with cosplay, and she's made her very own Batman belt. And I want to show you a video of that here. Check out what Peggy has made.
So the relationship that I see between this belt and Batman, and the belt of truth, is that Roman soldiers would wear those longer togas. Some of them would wear a shorter one, but they would wrap it around them and use the belt to hold it in place so that they could go into battle. Batman doesn't have any super abilities. He is not a superhero, and the belt is everything that gives him what he needs to be able to go out and be a superhero. It doesn't necessarily hold things in place, but it holds all of his tools and everything that he needs to go into battle. Okay, well, so let's see. In this pouch, we have batarangs, and everybody's really familiar with this. This is like iconic. He throws it, and it He uses it for all sorts of different things. He can catch people with it. He can stop people with it. He can hurt people with it. If I had made these so that they opened up, this would be where I would keep the grappling hook that everybody knows about. In one of the other pouches, he has all sorts of little tools. So this is a glue globule, and he throws this, and it spreads out, and it creates this glue that, like a car, a person, almost anything will just be stuck in place with this one. This would be a mini grenade. It's one of the ones that he throws. It attaches to something, and then it blows it up. It's a smoke grenade. And so he would use that to drop it down and create smoke and either run and hide or get people out of the way, that kind of a thing. I had fun with this. I made bolas. Don't run away from me, I will catch you. So that was fun. Then I happened to find something from the dentist that I turned into a rebreather. But I think that probably one of the things that gives him the most power is actually this. This is that symbol. People see it, and they make a big deal about it in the show too. You see the bat symbol. You know what that means. Whether you like Batman or not, whether you're a good guy or not, you have respect for that symbol. You have probably at least a healthy bit of fear for it. Again, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy. And I think of kind of like the cross and different symbols for Christianity throughout time, the bat symbol has that. And I think that when you think of a Roman soldier and his different armor and stuff, that was distinctive. And that kind of had the same effect as this. That's a Roman soldier. I'm going to be respectful of that. So what is wonderful is that now cosplay is such a big thing that you can generally look up Batman belt template. And I personally really like the Arkham game, and I like the Arkham horror Batman belt. And this isn't quite the same because it doesn't have the bat insignia on the front, and I wanted it to have that. So I made a change, but I found a template. And so here we go. This is just a PVC pipe that I painted black and then painted it gold to go with it. Most of this is craft foam, 4 and 6 millimeter craft foam, 2 millimeter craft foam. You see it's attached with Chicago screws and washers, and it goes on like that. This is a newer kind of paint that I tried out. It is specifically for EVA foam and cosplay because it will flex. Let's see, it doesn't chip. Inside I did with a regular paint, and you can see the white showing through because it was not the same. So that was really fun.
Wow, what a great example. I'm first of all super impressed with Peggy and her ability to make a bat belt, but I also think that's a great image for us of understanding being equipped with the truth for God, having the equipment we need for battle. Remember, we said that having that belt was about being prepared for battle. And Peggy's kids and some friends of theirs are involved in cosplay. I want them to explain to you what that is a little bit, and then they're dressed up as characters from a show called RWBY, R-W-B-Y. It's an anime, and it has some characters who are always prepared themselves for battle. And so I invite them to come and share with you a little bit about that story to help you understand better what it means for us to be prepared for the spiritual battle that we're facing. Check this out.
Okay, so we're all cosplaying characters from the American-made anime RWBY, or better known as RWBY. I am Blake Belladonna.
Yes, Belladonna, correct.
And so her ability is she is able to like project her shadow and things.
Their abilities are known as semblances. They're not called abilities or powers. They're called semblances. So
yeah, and like everybody has one in the world of, it's called Remnant and things. That's the universe it takes place in. But I kind of imagine that their abilities, their semblances, are kind of like the spiritual gifts we can get, like when like drawing closer to Christ and things. So Blake's weapon helps her project her ability better. So she ends up using something that's called dust in the show, but it's basically magic and things. And she's able to use it so she can make her shadow solid, like as ice or as fire, and like send them out at her enemies and things. So her weapon helps enhance it. Kind of like how I imagine if we read the Bible daily, it'll enhance our use of our spiritual gifts.
I'm cosplaying Ruby Rose. She's technically the main protagonist of the anime, but her semblance is speed, and it's not quite just speed. We're still finding out that she's more than we thought she was. With her semblance of speed, she can go extremely fast, and kind of like the Flash. You think of the Flash, she's basically the Flash. Her weapon is a sniper rifle scythe.
I am Yang Xiaolong from the show. I am Ruby's older sister, though I'm shorter. But she has these gauntlets. But her semblance is when someone hits her, she takes that power and does it 2 times stronger and things.
I am actually the same character as Faith, but in the first season,
I'm Sun Wukong, and I have gunchucks, so yeah. His semblance is basically where he can go clone himself with sun, the power of the sun. So.
Wow. When I stop and think about what they've processed and what they've made, I'm again just amazed at the creativity with the makeup and the construction, the sewing and the building and all that's involved. But what a great image for us of being prepared for battle, the battle that we face. When you watch a show like that, you expect there to be battle. It's very visible right in front of you. But for the battle that we face, it's invisible. What does it mean for us to have this belt of truth? Well, here's what I want to wrap up with today and finish up so you understand this. That having that belt of truth on is 2 things. Number 1, knowing the truth. We talked a lot about this last week, but you've got to be spending time on a regular basis reading the biographies of Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, reading Jesus' story so that you know the truth about him. And then beyond that, after you know the truth, you've got to live it out. That's what Paul's letters, the rest of the New Testament is about, helping us to live out what we've learned about Jesus. If you know the truth of Jesus, and that affects your thoughts, your words, your actions, then people are seeing Jesus lived out. And it looks so different from what the world around us looks like that when they see it, they might ask you about that. Why do you live that way? And you can explain to them the true story about Jesus and how he's changed your life. You can help them get to know him so that their lives can be equipped with God's power and protection the same as yours is. It's an awesome responsibility we have to live out this truth. Imagine that you don't go around dismissing the devil as some imaginary cartoon character, but you also don't go around thinking that you've got enough power on your own to face that enemy. But you go equipped with the power that God has for us. Think about this. If you're watching and you're in 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, you're somewhere between 10 and 14 years old. That's an age group that gets dismissed a lot as not being able to make a difference. But think about this. When Jesus' parents found him in the temple, not only listening to religious teachers, but answering them, asking questions, and having an intelligent conversation, he was only 12 years old. He was a preteen. And when Miles Morales accepted his opportunity and responsibility, he was able to help save Brooklyn when he became Spider-Man in Into the Spider-Verse. Now, one of those is a true story and one's fictional, but here's the deal. You don't have to be an adult to be someone that God uses to fight his battle, because you're going to be attacked no matter what age you are. You're going to face this evil in this world. So what if we were to go around equipped and prepared for the battle that we're facing with God's help? You know, in the Spider-Man series, there's the great question, or the great phrase, with great power comes great responsibility, and that's true. The question we have today is, are you relying on your own power for the battles that you're facing, or are you trusting in God's power? In other words, where do you get your strength? Does it come from yourself, or does it come from God? And you might answer quickly, well, I get my strength from God. That's clear. Okay, that's a continual thing. So are you spending time reading the truth about Jesus? Are you spending time involved with other Christians? Are you spending time connected to the church so that you can get the strength you need to face the battles that we're facing? We're going to break out in a minute here and go in and do some stations and some interaction through Trello and then do some stuff through Zoom. Let me pray to finish up this teaching time for today. God, thank you that we don't face these battles on our own. Thank you for Jesus. Remind us, because sometimes I even forget. When I look around the world around me, I get overwhelmed and I forget that the power inside of me, your Holy Spirit, is the same power that raised Jesus from the dead. Nothing we face is more powerful than you. Remind us all that truth today. Help us to take steps to make sure we rely on your strength. We build that up in our lives and that we are equipped to stand in the spiritual battle we face. Amen. All right, just a couple of reminders as we wrap things up for tonight. Right now, Cluster is open. The questions have been posted. You can go on there, answer questions. We always encourage you, once you've gone through and answered some questions, to go back through and see what other people have answered, see if that gives you a new idea, and just help you kind of build community with other people that are going on. Even if you want to add a little note about, hey, I agree with so-and-so, or that's a great idea or a great thought or comment, you can go through and answer those. There'll be questions that are just fun and questions that are serious about the lesson. And remember, that is an invitation link there on the screen. You can screenshot that, save that, fill that in. That'll open you up to Cluster, and you can join and participate with us. After that, at 7:15, in about 15 minutes or so, if you're watching this live, we're going to open up Zoom. And then once we kind of get the whole group in there, we're going to play some games together. Just have your device, have like a web browser available if we're going to do Kahoot. Otherwise, we'll play some different games that you don't really need any supplies for. That'll start at 7:15. Remember, tinyurl.com/ZOOM0604 takes you there, but you need the password that we emailed out to parents on Tuesday in order to get in. If you have any problems with that, you can contact me and we'll get that for you. If you're watching after Thursday, just kind of keep in mind that we do some live elements on Thursday nights, and we'd love to have you join us next time. Thanks for joining us for our middle school service for students in grades 5, 6, 7, and 8 as a part of Mount Pleasant Christian Church. My name is Mike Shealy. I'm the middle school pastor. Thanks for being here today.